Chosen one. If you're hearing this around February 21, I want you to slow down for a second. Not because the algorithm picked you, but because sometimes God uses ordinary moments to deliver an unusual message. So here's the promise. By the end of this video, you'll know the 6 signs that often show up when God is shifting a person into a new season. And the one mistake that can delay it. Take what resonates and let the rest go. Because what's happening for some of you right now isn't a small adjustment. It's a divine turning point. The kind that changes your direction, your discernment, and the way you carry yourself. Sign number 1. The inner earthquake. One of the clearest signs God is moving you into alignment is what I can only describe as an inner earthquake. Not drama, not attention-seeking. It's that deep shaking your family can't diagnose, your friends can't explain, and your routine can't silence. You might notice it like this. You feel restless even when nothing is wrong. You get a sudden wave of emotion in the middle of a normal day. You're tired, but your spirit feels wide awake. You start losing patience for things you used to tolerate. You can't go back to the old version of you, even if you try. And the confusing part is, it doesn't feel like fear. It feels like truth pressing on the inside of you. Here's what that means. God isn't trying to break you. God is trying to rebuild you. When God opens a new chapter, He doesn't just send blessings. He strengthens the person who can carry them. So yes, some things start collapsing. Not slowly, not politely, but quickly, like scaffolding being pulled down, so the real structure can finally go up. And I need you to hear this clearly. You're not falling apart. You're being reassembled. You're not losing your mind. You're being restored. Because this shaking often loosens what can't follow you. Expired relationships, draining connections, fear-based thinking, old coping patterns, generational cycles, hidden agreements you made in survival mode. It's pruning before fruit, release before resurrection, demolition before construction. And after the shaking, something changes. You wake up and your discernment feels sharper. You feel emotional, but strangely steady. You don't feel unstable. You feel precise. That's your spirit tuning up. And listen, this is why it can feel lonely. While others feel normal, you're sensing movement before it becomes visible. Sign number 2. Reality feels off, but in a quiet way. Now here's the second sign, and this one surprises a lot of people. Around a shift like this, life can start feeling slightly off. Not like you're confused, more like the timing of things feels too exact to ignore. You might notice you keep waking up at the same time for multiple nights. You hear a word or phrase repeated in different places. You see the same repeated confirmations more often than usual. You have a dream that feels symbolic, and you can't shake it. You get a message at the exact moment you were praying about something. A random conversation answers a question you never said out loud. Those aren't fireworks. They're breadcrumbs. When God moves, He often confirms it through alignment. Quiet, specific, personal. It's like heaven is saying, pay attention, you're close. Don't numb this. Don't ignore this. Because when God accelerates a season, He doesn't always announce it loudly. Sometimes He announces it through patterns you can't explain away. And what's happening here is simple. Your inner world and outer world start to mirror each other. Your focus gets clearer, and doors open with less friction. You're not being too sensitive. You're becoming spiritually accurate. And in a minute, I'm going to share the next sign, because it's the one that usually shows up right before your direction changes fast. But first, take a breath. If any of this has been happening to you lately, you're not imagining it. You may be in the early moments of a shift, where God is aligning you with what He already wrote over your life. And if you've been feeling like you can't go back to the old path, even when it would be easier, this is why. Sign number 3, the pull of destiny. One of the strongest signs God is shifting you is what I call the pull of destiny. It's an inner guidance that doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like purpose. You might recognize it like this: a sudden urge to start something you've been postponing, a pull to reach out to someone, or to finally stop reaching out, a quiet conviction to change direction, a holy discomfort in places that used to feel normal, a new idea that won't leave you alone, like it's chasing you, a repeated thought, "It's time, I can't stay here." And you keep asking, why now? Because God doesn't always give you the full map. He gives you the next step, the one that changes everything. This pull isn't coming from fear, it's coming from alignment. Sometimes it shows up as restlessness. Sometimes it shows up as clarity. Sometimes it shows up as a sudden no in your spirit, even if your mind still wants to negotiate. And here's how you know it's real. The timing starts getting too perfect to dismiss. The signs get too specific to ignore. And it feels like your future isn't far away anymore. It feels like your future is moving toward you. If you've felt that pull lately, and you're not sure if you're the only one, comment, "I'm ready." Not for me, for you. Because naming it helps you stop second-guessing what God is already confirming. Now listen, this is where people mess up. They think the pull of destiny means, "I need to force it." No, it means, "I need to follow and stay clean in my spirit." Because when God is guiding you, He'll often place divine breadcrumbs in the natural. An opportunity that appears out of nowhere, a message that lands at the exact right moment, a conversation that flips your perspective. One door closing so the right one can finally open. The sudden feeling that you must choose peace over familiarity. And the hardest part? People around you might not understand your shift, but they'll feel it, because you're not being pulled randomly. You're being directed strategically. Sign number 4, emotional cleansing, release without a reason. Now the 4th sign, and this one is deeply personal. Around a shift like this, many people go through a sudden emotional cleansing. Not because you're weak, not because you're unstable, and not because you're too emotional, but because your spirit knows the weight of the old season can't enter the new one. This can look like tears coming up out of nowhere, a random memory resurfacing, and then leaving you with peace, an urge to forgive someone you swore you never could, a sudden disgust for habits that used to numb you, feeling grief and then feeling lighter right after. Realizing you don't care about what used to control you. Sometimes you'll cry over something small and you don't even know why. But here's what's really happening. God is washing residue off of you, stored pain, old disappointments, the survival version of you, the quiet insecurity you learned to live with. This isn't a breakdown, it's a transition, because there are certain blessings God won't pour into a person who's still carrying the weight of who they had to be just to survive. So if you've been feeling waves, sadness, gratitude, relief, even joy, don't shame yourself. You're not falling apart, you're getting lighter. And when this cleansing passes, you'll notice it immediately. Clearer mind, steadier peace, sharper discernment, stronger boundaries, quieter confidence. Even if nothing outside has changed yet, something inside you has. And that's important because the next sign is where everything starts becoming undeniable, where your old identity can't hold you anymore. And this is where a lot of people get emotional, because it's the moment you realize you can't pretend anymore. Sign number 5. Identity revelation. One of the rarest signs God is shifting you into a new season is identity revelation. It's when the old version of you starts feeling unfamiliar, almost like you outgrew it overnight. This isn't just self-improvement, this is spiritual. Around this kind of shift, you may start hearing thoughts that feel like truth you can't unhear. I can't stay in this cycle anymore. I'm done shrinking. I don't fit here like I used to. I'm ready to become who God called me to be. And it doesn't feel gradual. It feels like something inside you stands up and says, "Enough, it's time." Here's what it usually looks like in real life. You stop laughing at things that used to entertain you. You stop chasing people who only show up when it benefits them. You start protecting your peace without apologizing. You lose interest in drama, gossip, and proving yourself. You feel a deeper hunger for meaning, discipline, and purpose. And at the same time, new things start finding you. Opportunities that match your maturity. Ideas that feel God-breathed. A confidence that feels quiet, but unshakable. People who get you without you having to perform. It's like heaven starts sending what belongs to you, because you're finally becoming the person who can recognize it. And then it gets obvious. You speak differently, more honest, less afraid. You move differently, more intentional. You decide differently, less emotion, more alignment. You don't react the same. You don't tolerate the same. You don't shrink the same. And people around you notice. They might not say it directly, but you'll feel it. Some will be inspired. Some will be uncomfortable. Some may even try to pull you back into the old you because the new you exposes what they're avoiding in themselves. But hear me. You don't owe anyone the version of you that God is retiring. Because the truth is, your miracle doesn't fit in the old identity. God doesn't elevate a mask. He elevates a person who's aligned. That's why this sign is so powerful. When your identity changes, your reality has to catch up. Relationships shift. Boundaries sharpen. Opportunities change. Favor shows up in places you didn't expect. Not because you became better than people, but because you became truer. And identity revelation is exactly that. A return to who you were always meant to be. Before survival taught you to shrink. Now, the last sign is the one people feel in their body. And I'm going to say it carefully, because I want this to be spiritually strong and safe for monetization. Because what I'm about to describe isn't about superstition. It's about the fruit, the results of what happens when God upgrades your inner life. So let's go to the final sign. The final and most undeniable sign of a divine shift is what I call light activation. And let me be clear, I'm not talking about superstition. I'm talking about what happens when God brings you into a new level of peace, clarity, and authority, so strongly that the world around you starts responding differently. Sign number 6. Light activation, spiritual radiance. This is the moment your spiritual yes becomes visible, not as an ego thing, not as a performance, but as a presence. You may notice it like this. People look at you a little longer, like they can't explain why you feel so grounded. Strangers open up to you faster than usual. You feel protected, like certain trouble doesn't reach you the same way. Anxiety starts losing its grip, and a calm settles in that you didn't force. The right opportunities show up with less friction. You start making decisions without spiraling, without begging for signs. without fear controlling the wheel. And it's not because you suddenly became perfect, it's because your inner life got upgraded. You released what was weighing you down. You let go of what God was closing. You stopped feeding the old cycle. You began walking in alignment. And when that happens, your spiritual atmosphere changes. Some opposition backs away, not because you fought louder, but because you stopped being available for it. Negativity doesn't stick the same way, because you're no longer agreeing with it. Old cycles break because you outgrew the pattern. New paths open because your spirit is finally aligned with what God has been preparing. That's light activation. Your life starts reflecting your obedience. Some people will feel comforted by your presence, some people will feel exposed, but most people will simply notice you're different. Not loud, not arrogant, just lit. And around a season, like February 21st, many people describe physical sensations, not as proof, but as a signal that something is shifting inside. Chills in a moment of prayer, warmth in your chest, a sudden calm when you should have panicked. The feeling of conviction, I'm ready, I can't go back. If you felt any of that, don't turn it into fear. Just recognize it as a sign that your spirit is waking up. And God is doing something deeper than you can explain with logic. Because here's the truth, I want to land this on without making exaggerated promises. This sign doesn't mean life will never be hard again. It means you're no longer living the way you used to. You're stepping into a chapter of clarity, discernment, and alignment, where God begins restoring what was lost in His timing and building something stronger than what you had before. Chosen one, breathe. If you recognized even one of these signs, it may be God confirming that you're in transition. And if you're still here, I want you to do something simple. Hit like. It helps this land where it's supposed to land. Subscribe if you want more messages like this, and if you want to stay anchored in this season, save this video, because doubt loves to show up after confirmation. You're not late. You're not forgotten. You're not disqualified. You're being prepared. And when God prepares someone, He doesn't do it to tease them. He does it to position them. Your next chapter isn't a fantasy. It's a process, and it's already begun. Amen.